Friday here in the Big Apple, off and running on this edition of Aqueduct Insider on MSG Plus. A windy day out, but a fast inner track, and it's warm and cozy in our second floor clubhouse studios. You're always welcome. You've made it in time. We love that. Richard Migliroe, Jason Blewitt set to go at the Big A. And can you believe it, Mig? Horse of the Year, the Eclipse Awards, it's all happening tomorrow down in Florida. Yeah, and the moment of truth is at hand, and there are a couple of categories that are still pretty wide open, including 3-year-old champion and Horse of the Year. Pretty solid card today. We ran the 9, no pick 6 carryover, 15% takeout on non-pick 6 carryover days. Keep that in mind going forward. Couple of highlights today, the 42nd running of the Busan, and today's 5th race, which I would be shocked didn't yield at least one starter for the Withers in February. You would have to think so. I mean, and we saw New York breds have really good success in this series last year, actually running 1-2, talking about Sam Rat and Uncle Si. And I think this was a talented group of 3-year-olds, and even though maybe there was some disappointment in the way a few of them ran, I think they had excuses, and I think there was some things that they can build on. Well, speaking of 3-year-olds of 2014, 2 of them, in fact, are finalists for Horse of the Year. They put on good shows from the start of the year through the end of the year in that controversy in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And we'll check out the rundown of the 3 finalists for the 2014 Horse of the Year. 3 very individual horses when you look at their overall ability and what they brought to the table. Let's start talking, Mig, about California Chrome, who's got a bunch of grade 1s to his credit and obviously won 2/3 of the Triple Crown. And he was so impressive through the first 2/3 of the Triple Crown. His turn of foot, even after already running over a mile, and the way he would be able to put some separation between his field, I thought was dazzling. His Derby was great. His Preakness was great. Of course, the Belmont, the Test of Champions, caught up with him, and maybe that campaign. But him coming back in the fall, needing a race in the Pennsylvania Derby, running very well in the Classic, and then winning a grade 1 on the turf, to me, that makes him 3-year-old champion and Horse of the Year. It's called Horse of the Year, and he did the most and brought tens of millions to that Belmont Stakes on Saturday, June 7th. Now, a horse that ran at Belmont Park on Saturday, June 7th, but didn't compete in the Belmont Stakes. Byron won the Woody Stevens in a dazzling performance, and here he is. Of course, he took out a whole bunch of horses at the start of the BC Classic. Yeah, let's set that controversy aside for a second. He was very good and very game in the Classic, but this was only his 2nd grade 1 of the year as opposed to 4 grade 1s for California Chrome. And I just think California Chrome's weight of the Derby and the Preakness, I should say, carried more weight. And as good as Byron is, I still think California Chrome accomplished more. The good news, all those horses set to come back as 4-year-olds. Now, what about this gelding by Aldebaran? Owned and bred by Flaxman Stables, kind of lost his form overseas, transferred to Grand Motion with the hopes of maybe he could restart his career, and he did just that, rattling off 4 consecutive grade 1 victories. He was a very good horse. The margin of victory never told the story with him because he's a horse that waits on other horses. He's never going to draw off. But he won 4 grade 1s at 4 different tracks, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Monmouth, Saratoga, Belmont Park, and the Joe Hirsch, and obviously Santa Anita. Yep. And just obviously ultra consistent, 4 grade 1s, undefeated on the year. But to me, 4 races doesn't make that same kind of comprehensive campaign. And getting back to Horse of the Year, as you alluded to. Yes, absolutely. It was Horse of the Year. California Chrome danced every dance, did it all season long during the prep season, was a grade 1 winner in the Santa Anita Derby. And he was the reason, again, I think he did the most for racing. I go back and, you know, perhaps stacking up their resumes in 2010, Zenyatta won more grade 1s than Blaine did, but ultimately she did the most for racing that year. I don't think it's you know, it should be used in a vacuum, but I go back to that argument with Zenyatta against Blame, and I think it works, and it should hold true with California Chrome against Byron. Well, no doubt that Zenyatta created more fans, and California Chrome created more fans. And if maybe we take away the unfortunate remarks of California Chrome's owners after the Belmont, when he was still in that flush of emotion, maybe he would even be more popular than he is. You can't hold it against the horse, though. He came out and showed up pretty much every time. And you question their judgment running in the Pennsylvania Derby off a layoff. Parks is not a racetrack you want to come back on under any circumstance. But he was able to rebound, of course, and ran well, even though he was beaten by Byron once again in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And we look ahead to the new year of 2015, February 7th. Sounds like California Chrome will be in the starting gate on that inaugural Fox Sports 1 Jockey Club tour when he faces off against Shared Belief in the San Antonio. Yeah, and you know, it's kind of like a little bit of a
preview of what's to come, and also maybe looking back at what was, and Shared Belief was very compromised at the start of the Classic, so you got to think that he's looking for redemption and shows that he can handle California Chrome.
3-year-old fillies coming up now as we get to the Friday action here at the Big A. Again, a day we hovered above the freezing mark in Queens, which was nice, and it was a card anchored by the 42nd running of the $100,000 Busan. These are 3-year-old fillies, and here's John and Brielle.
Bonnet Plume, a good beginning for Overprepared, and Hope, Faith, Joy. Those two going out for the lead. Just in behind is Diane Still Works, who had a steady there. Diane Still Works checking as the field goes around the clubhouse turn. The gray Liberty Island is racing in third. Stolen Victory on the outside, and fourth, Diane Still Works. In between horses is Been Here Before, now moving up. Then North 8th Street. On the outside is a Bonnet Plume, and Sweet on Smoky is the trailer in ninth as they head up the backstretch. Overprepared leads here by a neck. Hope, Faith, Joy in between horses, and Been Here Before on the outside in third. Liberty Island runs in fourth, just 2 lengths from the lead. Then it's Diane Still Works. Stolen Victory is 3 wide, and Bonnet Plume is 4 wide. Then it's North 8th Street, and Sweet on Smoky at the back. The opening quarter, 24 and 4. The opening half mile in 50 and 1/5 seconds. And it's Overprepared, challenged here by Been Here Before. Been Here Before on the outside. Overprepared down at the rail. Then it's Diane Still Works, Stolen Victory. Liberty Island down towards the rail. Bonnet Plumes on the extreme outside. Then North 8th Street. Sweet on Smoky. Hope, Faith, Joy is now the trailer. And the 3-year-old fillies are in the stretch. And it is Overprepared with the lead here. Overprepared now kicking clear to lead by 2.5 lengths. Liberty Island now moves to second. They're coming for the 16th pole. Overprepared trying to hold off Liberty Island as they come down for the wire, and it is Overprepared to win the Busanda. Liberty Island was second. It was close for third between Diane Still Works and Sweet on Smoky.
Of course, today's Busanda was rescheduled from last weekend when we canceled, and it picked up a few new starters, among them the big even money favorite Overprepared, who shipped up from Florida and made quick work.
Well, and I think it was a really sharp move to ship her up. She's a nice filly. She has speed. She showed speed sprinting. And the fact that she was probably best last time when she was shut off at Laurel, had a tough trip, it's a pretty nice filly.
Yacht Ortiz Jr. pointed her in the right direction for trainer Todd Pletcher, and you caught up, in fact, with E-Rod moments after getting off Overprepared.
All right, it looked like you had a pretty easy trip making the lead from the inside, and it looked like she was waiting on horses late.
Yes, first thing I want to say, thanks God and thanks the owner and trainer for giving me the opportunity to ride that filly. She's a very nice filly, and just one more good. She just break and put me on the lead. I waited, she got relaxed pretty good. You can see his ears. And down the stretch, she got the lead a little early and opened up a little, like 3 lengths maybe, and she started looking around. She don't know what to do yet. She's just maybe his third race in his career. I think she's gonna be a nice filly.
This is the first time you ever rode her, but I see your brother Jose rode her last time. Is that something you guys talk about?
Yes, he rode her in Laurel, and he had the perfect trip. He told me, he wished that filly not break very good that day, going sprinter 6 furlongs. She got some dirt, and she got him pretty good, so I don't have pressure today if she break or no break. And she was okay, and she got a little trouble on the stretch. Somebody maybe come down, he have to check and go out, and he told me she come flying, Ira. I think she'll be all right, and she can go 2 turns, so hopefully she can win for you. She don't do it for me, so here it is.
Well, tough trip last time, good trip this time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And there you go, little pre-game conversation between competitors, brothers but competitors, in Jose and E-Rod Ortiz, and just a nightmarish trip for Overprepared down in Maryland. And it sounds like Jose was a little sad she didn't get off cleanly. Today she broke much better.
Broke much better. I think she's more suited to 2 turns anyway. I think her pedigree says that. You can see how comfortable she got, how efficient her stride is. And when they sprint, they have to work harder to get that position. She assumed the position the right way. Nice filly.
Todd Pletcher, the winning trader, he has won 4 of the last 5 editions of the Busanda, including 2 years ago with Princess of Silmar, who would go on to win multiple Grade 1s. We'll see if that's in the future for Overprepared. The future for us, though, is race number 5, that solid New York-bred 3-0 allowance race we alluded to at the top of Insider. We'll send it back to Johnny I from the gate.
From the inside, all is numbered. JC's not brown, no texting, and there goes Fleeting from the extreme outside. The field races into the clubhouse turn. JC's Not Brown comes away with the lead. All is number, no texting right together. Persuasive Devil now up to fourth. Down at the rail, it's a bullheaded boy running in fifth. Mason's Dream is alongside in sixth. Fleeting on the extreme outside in seventh. At the back are Navy Blue and Tis Quick. They're on the back stretch. And it's big long shot here. JC's Not Brown, the gray, in front by a length. No texting is in second. Down at the rail is Bullheaded Boy, now coming on through. In between horses is Fleeting, and the favorite All Is Number in the clear on the outside. And then comes Tis Quick and Persuasive Devil, followed by Mason's Dream, Navy Blue trails. They move for the far turn. And no texting has a head in front of All Is Number. Persuasive Devil now joins the front runners, so it's three of them across. There goes Persuasive Devil on the outside to take over the lead. All Is Number in second. No texting has dropped out of it. Then it's Fleeting and Tis Quick there in the stretch. And it is Persuasive Devil on the outside. Here comes Fleeting now. Fleeting up to challenge Persuasive Devil, and Tis Quick is moving up on the extreme outside. They're moving for the 16th pole. It's Tis Quick and Persuasive Devil and Fleeting in between. They come for the wire, and Tis Quick takes it. Very tight for second between Persuasive Devil and Fleeting.
Dropping out of the Damon Runyon, it was Tis Quick pulling off the upset third choice 5-1 in today's fifth.
And I thought Tis Quick might have hung a little bit last time. Maybe he was showing distance limitations. Maybe in hindsight, Jason, he just needed a run at around 2 turns to be at his best. He was good today, got a good trip. I think All His Number was under pressure, tough trip for a horse. You know, first only 1 start, 6 furlongs, stretching out to 2 turns. And Fleeting got a terrific ride by Taylor Rice from post 10 to get her position going forward, was able to tuck in, looked like she might win it at one point, but couldn't withstand Tis Quick's late run.
And Persuasive Devil, in fact, was right there for Joe Orsino, a horse that stepped up his game in a short time. We'll see where these New York breds go down the road as we set it to break. We've got a lot more action coming your way in this Friday edition of Aqueduct Insider. It's New York City's racetrack here at the Big A. Holiday weekend here at Aqueduct, the live racing card forthcoming this Monday, a 9-race program, 12:25 the start time. Martin Luther King Jr. Day here at the Big A, and Mega Card anchored by the $100,000 Jazzle, named, of course, for a Belmont Stakes winner trained by Kieran McLaughlin.
Yeah, Kieran's first classic. I'm sure the first of many, though.
We hope.
Yeah, Kieran, you know, I think a Kentucky Derby is in his future somewhere, and it would mean everything for a Kentucky-born, bred, and raised Kieran McLaughlin to get that done.
He's got a number of aces starting 2015, among them Frosted, who's nearing his 3-year-old debut down at Gulfstream Park in the Holy Bull. Best of luck to that outfit as we get on to race number 7. We send it back upstairs to John Abrial as we get back to Friday's action.
And they're off. Village Warrior and Cosmic Coincidence go out for the early lead. Village Warrior on the inside. Cosmic Coincidence now goes on with it to grab the lead. Village Warrior runs in second with Son of a General in third. And then it's 3 lengths back to Wellington Wizard, who trails in fourth. As they move around the clubhouse turn, it's Cosmic Coincidence in front by a length and a half. Village Warrior giving chase in second, another 2 to Son of a General, and 3 more to Wellington Wizard. And the 4 of them head up the backstretch after an opening quarter mile in 24-1. Cosmic Coincidence with the lead here by a length. Village Warrior in pursuit in second. Now a break of almost 4 back to Son of a General, and 5 more to Wellington Wizard. Cosmic Coincidence, the longest shot in this short field, leads here by a length and a half. Ran the half in 47-4. Odds-on favorite Village Warrior continues to chase in second as they go into the far turn. Cosmic Coincidence in front by a length. Village Warrior is second by 2. Son of a General in third. Farther back, it's Wellington Wizard. It's still Cosmic Coincidence in front after 3 quarters in 1:12-2. Village Warrior now to the attack on the outside. Cosmic Coincidence, Village Warrior, Son of a General now moving up on the outside. It's Village Warrior and Son of a General. Cosmic Coincidence now back running in third. Son of a General has taken over the lead from Village Warrior, and it will be Son of a General. 3/4 of a length over Village Warrior. Pace-setting Cosmic Coincidence was third, and Wellington was...
Game run, first start in over 6 months for Son of a General, but he was able to pick off Village Warrior in deep stretch.
Yeah, and he was very resolute. You can see how mean he is. He's got his ears pinned flat against it. He wanted to win. I like seeing that determination in a horse's face. And certainly a horse that looks like he can go forward off of this.
We all want to be with the winner, and Barry K. Schwartz, first horse I've ever seen in Barry's classic colors, with Linda Rice as the trainer. And I ran into Linda downstairs, and I said, Linda, this was before the race, I said, is this Son of a General the first horse you've had for Barry? Because I don't think I've ever seen that before. And Kid Cruz with Black Swan, who Barry and his wife are involved with, well, that started it. And I guess Barry, over the spring and summertime, sent a few horses Linda's way.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and you pointed it out to me because I didn't see the correlation, too, until you said about the Black Swan connection. And it seems like Mike Hush and his longtime trainer spending a lot of time with Barry's horses in Florida this winter, although he's shuttling back and forth, so it makes sense they'd spread it out a little bit.
And speaking of Florida with the Sunshine Millions, Girl About Town, who's a Broman homebred by AP Indy from Mike. She's a big long shot, one of the Philly Mare sprints. Hope she runs well tomorrow. Live long shot to look at midway through that Gulfstream card. As we get on to the world's fastest pick 6, we're going 3/4 at about 107 and change here as we get back to Johnny I for the calls of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9.
Winning 1:13-4. Perfectly Mine on the outside. 'Tis the fast lane. And down at the rail, here comes Hold Me Down. Hold Me Down has taken over the lead. It's Hold Me Down in front. Perfectly Mine in second. 'Tis the fast lane has dropped out of it. And a huge upset to start the day. Hold Me Down at 26-1. Billy Pays the Bills in front here by 2 lengths. Kise Moir in second. Farther back, it's Oliver Rush and Little T. Louis. They're inside the 8th pole now. Billy Pays the Bills in front, but Oliver Rush is coming on with a late rush here. Here's Oliver Rush to go by Billy Pays the Bills and win going away. Oliver Rush takes it off the turn and into the stretch. Luther and Miss now opens up a 4-length lead. Until There Was You in second. Prize Taker, Too Good to Be True on the outside. Luther and Miss with the lead. The lead is 3 lengths. Until There Was You, all out in second. They come down for the wire. Luther and Miss holding on. Luther and Miss wins it. Until There Was You second. Then Prize Taker and Too Good to Be True. Moves into second. Gingy comes on. Then it's Sharp and Witty and Bay Dawn down at the rail. They're at the 8th pole. And Charming Eyes is in front by 3 lengths. Belafaci in second. Gingy moving up now into third. They come down for the wire, and it will be Charming Eyes at odds of 1-2. Belafaci second, Gingy was third, Sharp and Witty fourth. Love to Run and Petroselli, and they're heads apart for the lead. Love to Run narrowly. Petroselli continues to battle on with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Now Love to Run is clear. Clear by 1.5 lengths. Petroselli in second. And then it's Poliziano and more 100 Acre. Love to Run wins it. Photo for second. Very tight for second between Poliziano and Petroselli. Star of the Forest with Max Anna bearing down on her. Here's Max Anna to take over the lead. Star of the Forest is back running in second. Then Tardy to the Party. It's Max Anna with the lead. Max Anna on to victory here. She made that big move at the top of the stretch and goes on to a 3.5 length win. Star of the Forest was second. Then Tardy to the
Red Maxana dropping slightly in for the dime. 10K in the last race. Carlos Martin, Larry Mejias, the winning jockey. Carlos, obviously, the winning trainer. As we get to the Frost Giant, big New York bred standout on this Friday afternoon at the Big A. We go back, 5th race. Tiz Quick has gotten plenty of press on this show, but rightfully so, and he's the star on today's program.
Yeah, and just much like the Frost Giants, gets it done, and I like the way he gets the lead, and you'll see his ears go up. Makes you feel like there's more in the tank. I like when I see horses winning with their ears going back and forth. It seems like they're enjoying themselves, having fun. And Tiz Quick proved me wrong. I thought he might not want to go that far. Well, just like the Frost Giants, distance limitations are not a problem.
Give Eric Bishop a phone call or an email, Eric at sunrisestallions.com, 516-606-9768. Frost Giants standing for $10,000 at Keen Stud in the 2015 breeding season. Rider standings, Manny Franco had 3 yesterday. Not as successful on the afternoon as those horses make their way over to the paddock here. I love that shot on the main track. But Jose Ortiz, your leading rider with 38 wins, almost at 40.
38 wins, but you know, Manny Franco, it looked like he was going to be a rout, and he's kind of rallied back into it a little bit. We got a long way to go. Yacht Ortiz is certainly rolling, and Angel Cruz added a couple more to his total today.
And we'll talk about David Jacobson, who's got one of the major players in tomorrow's featured third race, the Interboro.
Yeah, David Jacobson, successful any time of year, and you know he spots his horses correctly in places they can win.
And he loves to claim. He's always active in the claim box here at the Big A, and we'll check out the claims here with another Friday afternoon down. In fact, maybe some of those horses making their way over to the Big A paddock were claimed. We had 2 on the day, More 100 Acre, Emron Ibrahim, and Tardy to the Party, who wasn't late, actually showed up, had a nice set of pink blinkers on. She was claimed out of the nightcap.
Yeah, kind of a light day at the claim box here at Aqueduct, but so much claiming goes on, yeah, once in a while you got to have a little lull.
And a Saturday preview. No lull. There's no letdown on this show. We've got our home stretch coming up. We're flying off the quarter pole here on Insider. In and among 600 horses stabled at the Big A, it is Aqueduct Insider. We'll get you down to the action at Gulfstream Park. Race number 9, and what a return as Mig and Jason join you here on the show. What a return for Rajiv Mirage. First start off that long layoff. He's up in a nick of time as we check out the 9th race on the Gulfstream Park turf.
Well, it didn't take Rajiv long to knock the ring rust off. A very well-judged, well-timed ride on Sky Blazer, and he waited, he was patient, he came out for room, and it looked like he was going to run out of time. I even thought maybe he left himself too much to do. He went left-handed here. Sky Blazer responded, and I am so thrilled for Rajiv Mirage. Unfortunately, been on the sidelines, lost the mount on main sequence, and here he is coming back to the winner's circle. And I can speak from personal experience. It washes so much away, so many doubts, so many things you go through when you battle back from injury. And I am so happy for him. Now he can just pick up where he left off, get his career back on track, and hopefully regain the mount on some of those big horses like Main Sequence.
Talented young rider. He has got a big fan base. He's a likable guy.
Absolutely.
Has hands down the best laugh in all of New York racing.
Grade 1 laugh.
Grade 1 laugh all the way, much like Main Sequence, and a strong finisher. And that finishing ability was on display there with Sky Blazer. Good stuff with Rajiv Mirage down at Gulfstream Park. Let's get you back to the Big A action, though, on Saturday. Featured third race, the Interboro. Here's a look at the Garland of Roses opening weekend on the Inter.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at Expression getting up. It appeared at one point Willett was going to win the race, and Expression was able to run by her. Do you think this was a function of the racetrack? I think Willett's better on a fast track, and they're going to have a big switch in weights. Last time, Expression carried 117. This time she's carrying 121. Last time, Willett carried 119. She drops to 115. That's an 8-pound swing.
And this might be the last career start of Willett. Best of luck to a New York bred who's been good for quite some time for Jimmy Islin. Heir of Distinction did not meet her reserve at Keeneland November. She was purchased privately off that by David Jacobson, and she's the new face from the outside post.
And I think the outside post actually helps her here. She possesses speed, but she's not forced into anything. She'll be close to the pace without being committed to the pace, and I think she'll work out a nice stalking trip.
Fernando Hara, who's made the most of limited opportunities this winter, has the mount. Stormy Novel, meanwhile, is down on the inside for John Service. She's coming up from Laurel. She's based at Parks. It looks like she's working well, and she had a pretty good 3-year-old season, a daughter of Bernardini, winning 4 of 9.
Well, she's obviously very talented, but I think that inside post could be problematic. She needs to work out a trip. She has enough speed to get position, not enough speed to clear, and sometimes when you're in that spot, you wind up kind of in a compromised position.
$200,000 guaranteed late pick 4. In fact, $250,000 the guarantee here tomorrow afternoon. We'll get that Saturday late pick 4 MIG underway in race number 6 at a major player race number 8. Big field, non-winners and one allowance race is where we're going next at 1 mile and 70 yards. And here's Sasakaya, went for a lot of money as a 2-year-old in training, and he will try to get through this allowance condition.
Yeah, he ran well first time, well, actually his second time against winners. He ran as a maiden in the Frederick Tessio, but he broke his maiden. This was his first start after that against winners, and he ran well. And I think he's going to get a pace scenario that could be beneficial to his style. I do think he wants to settle and make a run.
Lieutenant Shawnee O and Celebrated Talent are coming out of a race here on December 11th. A muddy track. You see how pervasive and prevalent these wet tracks were throughout the fall into early winter. And who do you like off the rematch?
Well, a Celebrated Talent adds blinkers, and he gets that outside post. So you think it's going to intensify his speed, and I think he's got to be committed to go. And I think that's going to be a difficult road for him. So out of those two, I think Lieutenant Shawnee might set up a better trip.
It's been a good start to the intertrack season for trainer Abigail Adsit, one of her big winners, Old Upstart, who in this race, second off the claim, hands down, ran the finest race of his career.
Yeah, he was really good. His first start on the intertrack, he won, and he won easily. Even though he was drawing off, he was playing with his ears, looking around a bit, and he's got a good inside draw. He has speed, but he doesn't need the lead. So I think Jeremy Rose is aggressive, gets his position going forward, spreads the field out. He's very much the horse to beat.
And now we go the many feet and quite a few steps down to the Big A paddock. We catch up with Maggie Wolfendale, who will fill us in on who to look for in Saturday's 5th.
Thanks, guys. Well, we have some interesting races on tomorrow's card for Saturday, and I'm going to take a look at race number 5. It is a starter allowance for 4-year-olds and upward, going the 6 furlong distance, and a lot of ways you can turn in here, but I'm going to go with one returning off of a layoff, and that is number 5, Smaverless, for trainer Jason Service. Now, he is being moved from the very powerful Chad Brown barn, but Jason has very good numbers, especially with this kind of move. First-time trainer change off the 180-day plus layoff. He's 23% with a 450 ROI. That's good enough in my book, and I've always loved the appearance of Smaverless in the paddock each and every time. And 2, he returns as a new gelding, so a lot of times that will have a form reversal for them, and not that he even needs it, because his races from last year are good enough to take this field down tomorrow. So it's Smaverless for me, guys, for today's Paddock Insider.
Race 5, number 3, Smaverless for Miss Maggie, who's always marvelous here doing her job. Nobody better in the Big A paddock.
No, absolutely, giving great insights, picking up on things that other people might miss, and the fact that she keeps such good records that she can go back to look at and say, wow, this is different than last time. And I think that's important. When a horse does something that's out of character for them, that's when you basically have a red flag. Maybe something's not quite right.
No pick 6 carryover into the Saturday card. Mr. Mig, a 15% takeout with that Saturday pick 6. We'll have the guaranteed late pick 4, and we have got a very happy native of Jamaica, Raji Mirage, terrific in his comeback race aboard Skyblazer for Barclay Tag. The buzzer has sounded. Sad but true. The Mig and I would love to stay, but we do have to go. We hope you'll tune in to the Saturday edition of Aqueduct Insider right here on MSG+.